So next on the list is probably cab mounts. I have stuff coming for that, so I have to change the bushings and the brackets on this side and then fix that step. The bolt on the back one just broke, so I have to get that bolt out and attach everything again. And it should be 100% to go down the road. Okay, we're starting a new project. We had to fix the cab mounts on this truck. So we have the front one, the middle one, and a shock mount back there. I think the rear cab mount is fine. It's just that the bolt is missing, or it broke. So the step is floppy, like that. So there's no bolt up there. The head routed off. The head's still here, but this needs to be welded here. It's bending. So the whole thing is tilted. So the whole thing is tilted downwards like that. And then there's a hole in the frame there. And that cab bracket is not so nice in the front. Okay, pop these two bolts loose. They're 18s. You can see they start getting a little thinner. So this one's reusable. And then the bushings, they're so old, they just disintegrate. They're just junk. So we gotta loosen the very front one. And then we could jack the cab up a little bit, pull out the bushings, measure the brackets, do something with this e-brake cable. And then that is the fuel pump grounds. They moved them here. They were here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that, and when I put a plate in here first, I'm going to weld a 1/4 bolt and then just eyelet that to it. Okay, so after I got the front bolt loosened, you need a 15. I took the top cover off so it was easy for me to see, but you don't need to. And super long extension. It's 15 there, 18 on the bottom like the other ones. And then I put a block of 4x4 on there and jacked it up. You can see how high I lifted it. And I got all the bushings out. Good news, the bolt on the back wasn't broken off. I've dealt with this before where the head of the bolt just rotted off. Remember I showed you how thin it gets? And all you have to do is grab it with a vice grip. I've done it twice. Well, first time I grabbed it with a vice grip, the cab bolts are not that tight. They're only like 30 or 50 foot-pounds or something like that. So you could loosen it very easily. Second time, I welded a nut to it and just took it out with a 19 and just a ratchet. Welded a nut to the stud that was left. They're not, like I said, they're not that tight. And they don't rust flush with the body. They rust in the rubber. So next thing I got to work on is taking that ground off of there, cutting these brackets off, measuring where the new ones need to go. And then we have to reuse these mushroom caps. They don't come with any new bushing that I could find. So the easiest thing I found is take a drill bit and walk it in between the rubber and the metal and just keep going, and the rubber usually pops out of there. The rubber is just absolute junk. So you gotta do that on all of those. So now these rubber bushing kits are super expensive for no reason. And the cheap ones, which this is an Amazon one, I'm not thrilled about it, but they didn't have options. So this is leftover because I pieced together a couple kits. This is a Daystar bushing kit, which I like them. So I seem to only rot out on half the sides of the truck. So I put half of them on my one truck, and then I did 3 on the other truck, and I have 1 left over. But these are on like infinite back order. Somebody bought them out, supposedly. So probably the good quality is probably going to turn to Amazon quality. So this is your top bushing. The mushroom cap that was describing goes on there through here. That goes on the the top of the, I'll just show you. What a good demonstration. See how it's like oblong there? So that goes like that. And that just goes on like that. And then you put the big washer on the bottom and the bolt and sandwiches it. You can see how it's oval. So obviously you can't only go two ways, this way or that way. So I'm gonna use these Amazon bushings because the factory ones obviously not gonna work. They're just too far gone. And we gotta get these in. Usually if you can keep it from moving, it works better. Pinch it too hard, then it's stuck in there. Yeah, there we go. See? It's a mushroom. There we go. Just want to get all the rusty shards off of there. It's got to slip through another bushing. You might have to just wire wheel it. So now that's in there. Now I just got to repeat that 2 more times. Well, technically, if you're going to do the front one, you repeat it. But I'm not going to do the very front one. And by very front one, I mean that one. I'm just going to bolt it back together and be done with it. So I just got to do that a couple more times. Wire wheel, put the pieces in, send it. And just like that, all the bushings are ready to be reinstalled once I get going down there. Okay, so I still got a little bit more grinding to do on that one, but you can see that's how the bracket sat in there. Not a whole lot left of it. This one, I had to cut it out in a few pieces. It had this thing scabbed onto it. I don't know what it's for, patch it up or something, I don't know, but it's in multiple pieces. And I cleaned it off. I gotta build a little patch panel for that, vacuum the frame out. There's a bunch of crap in there. And yep, patch panel on there, and put the brackets on, weld those up nice and solid after I do some grinding. But that took a while to get that off of there. Okay, got a plate welded in here all the way around. I'm gonna leave those welds. These cam mounts are bolted in. These are not attached to the frame. Got that in there. I just need to lower the whole thing down until I get to my marks and everything's lined up, and then tack the brackets in, unbolt it, lift the body back up so I don't melt the bushing, weld the brackets in fully, and then run the e-brake cable through it, and then bolt that one back in. Remember, that one was fine. I just had to get another bolt because it was missing. I just got to measure it all up. I might have to loosen the bracket and then twist it a little bit. It should be good. Okay, so I'm losing daylight. It's a lot brighter on camera than it is in person, but I got the brackets welded on. It's sitting on its own weight. I have 2 more welds to complete, but I'm gonna do that and then I'll come back tomorrow or the next day, and I'll show you how far I got. I just got to finish the welds, lift it up, paint it, and then put the lower back down, put the step back on, and should be good to roll. Okay, I replaced the cab mount in the front. I showed you that, and just bolted down with a little impact, and it had a wrench up top, or a ratchet with a long extension. And then this was a little hard to do by myself. Set the step up there, put the cups on, everything painted. I ran out of gloss black and I had to use a little bit of satin, but I'm gonna come back and paint the whole frame probably. The only thing I gotta do is this little bracket here where it bends. Probably needs a weld. It's just, I don't know if there was a weld. If there was, it's cracked, but that would stiffen this up pretty good. It's not bad. But that's pretty much all the cab mounts on there. Okay, I had it all painted up, and then I forgot the fuel pump grounds, so I just welded a bolt to it and rewired it to these heat shrink connectors, and then I had to grind the paint there, and I had to weld that real fast. That looks a little buggery, but it's actually not so bad. And sheet metal. So I'm gonna repaint that, and I have to reattach the e-brake cable, and we're going back to the back. Okay. We got this shock bolted in. This one's in. New mount. Just buzzed it in. I couldn't weld the far side, so I welded it on the inside. It's a little shitty. What can you do? I'm not pulling the bed off to do it completely. This cross member has got some shit in it. Like, this cross member's got some rot in it. They all do. It's fine for now. So I just got the shock working. Okay, kind of closing out this video. I've been driving this for about a week or so now. Cab mounts and frame fix and shocks all went great. It was pretty easy. I've done it before. The only thing is, that side, the passenger side, that I didn't change the rubber cab bushings on, the mounts themselves are fine. I'll insert a clip here. You can hear it squeaking real bad. Well, that's squeaking right there. I gotta change the cab mounts on this side. Yeah, okay, so they're squeaking real bad. So I guess they didn't look terribly blown out or broken. I guess they're just really deteriorated. 20 some odd years will do that, so we're gonna work on changing those in the next week or so, but I'm not gonna show you that in this video. You've already seen how to do that, so I'm just gonna close out here.